Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to the ADIPEC Energy Dialogue interview series with me, your host, Rebecca McLaughlin Easton. We are counting down the days and the hours to ADIPEC 2022, which will officially get underway in the UAE capital, Abu Dhabi, in October from the 31st, gathering policymakers, energy CEOs and industry professionals from right around the world, all focused on the energy transition and the evolving energy landscape. Joining me today, ahead of his arrival in Abu Dhabi, is Darryl Willis. He is the Corporate Vice President of Energy and Resources Industry at Microsoft. Darryl, thank you so much for joining me from New Orleans today.
Great to see you, Rebecca. Thank you for having me.
Darryl, talk to me about what you do for Microsoft and how your background in oil, gas, and the energy industries has brought you there today.
So, Rebecca, my current role at Microsoft is leading the energy industry for the company and really ultimately driving two things: digitization across oil and gas and power and utilities and the mining sectors. In addition to that, also thinking about how to leverage digital in the acceleration of decarbonization. We are acutely focused on helping enable the industry as it thinks about net zero by 2050 or sooner, and we believe that digital is central to achieving decarbonization and ultimately delivering on the energy transition. Prior to joining Microsoft, I spent about 2 years at Google Cloud leading their energy efforts there, but a disproportionate share of my life and career was spent at British Petroleum, at BP. I spent 28 years at BP. For me, when I think about technology, it's something that's been a passion for me, and it's something that I feel Microsoft can help better enable as we move forward. I'm passionate about working with partners and governments and countries to really think about how do we create a cleaner energy future for all and a more accessible energy future.
Well, we certainly share your passion and enthusiasm for the energy transition. And if I were to ask you to assess the situation of where we currently stand today, and of course our targets on reaching net zero and reducing carbon emissions, what would you say?
We are all pointed in the right direction. A disproportionate share of energy companies, oil and gas companies in particular, and power and utility companies are all thinking about decarbonization, and many have set net zero targets by 2050 or sooner. And I believe that the future is all about partnership around how we deliver those. The other thing I would say is that this journey that we're on towards net zero or the energy transition more broadly is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Global energy demand is going to continue to increase. In addition to that, the population is going to increase from 7.5 billion people today to around 10 billion people by 2050. And everyone is going to need access to energy. And energy is the big liberator, and it is the thing that's required to raise living standards around the world.
We're moving in the right direction, Darryl, and striving towards sustainable, cleaner, more affordable energy for all. Technology, of course, is integral to making that happen. How is Microsoft leveraging decarbonisation in its technological developments? Can you point to some examples and outcomes of your strategies?
One of the things Microsoft did in 2020, in January of 2020, is pledge to become carbon negative by 2030. In addition to that, we also said that we would operate all of our campuses, all of our offices, and run all of our data centers on renewable energy by 2025. In addition to that, we established in 2020 a $1 billion climate innovation fund to support new technology that will help address climate change and help make investments in those new and emerging technologies, things like carbon capture and storage and direct air capture, et cetera. As much as it's important to set a target, it's also important to have lines in the sand that can confirm that you're making progress. In addition to that, a lot of the technology that's going to be required to deliver on the energy transition has to be created. Microsoft cannot do it alone. We are a big piece of the puzzle, but it's going to require all of us, companies and countries, working together.
We've touched upon some of them, of course, but what else can you really signal to as key to advancing decarbonisation?
I think a big piece of what's going to be required is increasing the amount of renewable energy that is produced. In addition to that, I think working with battery companies and thinking about batteries and how, and working with mining companies and thinking about how we're going to provide all of the minerals that are required to truly enable the energy transition. Even with all of the renewable energy that is being created and put online. The world's going to need all of it. In every scenario, we will live in a world where we're trying to produce the lowest emissions uh, energy and the cleanest energy possible to create the need that's going to be created over the course of the next 20 and 30 years.
Not long now until the great and the good of the energy industry from right around the world descend upon Abu Dhabi for ADIPEC 2022. We're very much looking forward to seeing Microsoft on the ground. You have a significant presence in the decarbonisation zone. So what can we expect, and what conversations are you keen to have with your peers?
So the first thing I would say is that the world continuously need access to more energy. And so producing energy for the world is absolutely key to liberating communities out of poverty and making the world literally go round and round. So ADIPEC is central to delivering energy to the world. And Microsoft has got to be a part of the conversation and a part of the solution, because we believe that efficiency and decarbonization and ultimately delivering on energy transition will take all of us.
We sadly have to leave our conversation there, Darryl, but thank you again for joining me from New Orleans today.
I've really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you so much.
And that marks the end of yet another episode in the Energy Dialogue interview series by ADIPEC. Do be sure to log on to adipec.com to register for the event and find out all the details regarding the exhibition and the conference. Plus, you can follow ADIPEC on LinkedIn and social media for more interviews of this kind. Until I see you again, take care and goodbye.